Welcome back to your hour. Joining me now is Paul Rosales from Remax Realty Professionals. And what were we going to talk about today?
We started talking last week a little bit about getting ready to sell your house.
Okay.
And one of the things that's important on selling your house is, of course, first impressions. Obviously, the first impression somebody's going to have of your house is going to be the exterior. Whether that's if they're looking online or if they're just driving through the neighborhood, their first impression is, what they see first.
The curb appeal.
Yeah, exactly. In our MLS, we're required that the first picture that you see has to be the exterior of the home. And it's got to be the front of the house. It can't be the back if you have a special garden in the back or something like that. It's got to be the front of the house. So when somebody's looking online and the first picture they see, if it doesn't look right, then they'll probably end up moving on. Yeah. However, if it looks nice, they might take a little interest in it and start clicking through the other pictures of the property. If that suits them, they're probably going to put it on a list of houses to drive by. They'll go down and check them out, and they want the picture to be able to match up with reality. So whatever, if you have a good-looking yard when we list the house, you want to make sure to keep that good-looking yard up. You don't want a bunch of weeds growing in a flower bed or dandelions all over your front yard if it's not what they see in the picture. Obviously, the exterior of the house is paint. A lot of that is paint. You don't want to have chipped paint here and there. For one thing, it's going to cause you problems if somebody buys the house either with a Veterans Administration loan or an FHA loan.
Oh, yeah.
Because on those, when the appraiser comes out, there can't be any of the exterior exposed. If it's a wood deck, it's got to be treated. It just can't be regular wood. It's got to be actually covered in some manner, either stained or something like that to preserve it. Paint on the outside is important. On top of that, it's going to lead to rotting of the wood.
Oh, sure.
And you don't want to have that come up because that'll come up in a home inspection. I've actually seen inspectors go out and they'll have like a screwdriver and they'll test wood around windows. And if it enters the wood, if that wood's crumbling, then it's usually either water or termites, one or the other. You want to have the house able to not only appeal to people, but once you get down the road and they're buying it, you want it to be able to stand up to an inspection. And of course, just put the shell on the house and the shell's the paint. So, and make sure you use some nice colors when you paint the house. Don't be the person on the block where they have to ask, is it pink or is it salmon? Yeah, it's not something that you really want to have somebody debate because people set different resolutions on their computer screens, or not resolutions, but different coloring on their computer screens. And if your house is close to pink, it may show up as pink.
Yeah.
So you want to have a definite color. A good example is brand new houses. When was the last time you went to a brand new housing development and they had a pink house or a salmon-colored house? They really don't do that.
No.
It's real neutral colors that won't offend anybody, that show up real clear on any computer screen that you're going to be using. You're going to have some nice trim colors. You don't want to have a monotone home where the trim is the same color as the siding.
Yeah.
You want to have a little definition there.
We've seen a house that has it's a really ugly shade of blue, and it's really like a neon blue, and it's one of those houses that it almost jumps out into the middle of the street and says, "Hi, I'm a blue house."
Well, I hear with the satellite you can see those from space. They just kind of pop out. You don't want to be the house that just pops out. I was on South Mosley about a month ago, and there's a blue house down there. Everything else looks great in the neighborhood, but it's blue, you're right, like a neon blue, cobalt blue. It's beautiful on some clothes, like a beautiful cobalt blue shirt, but it doesn't translate onto a house. In the interior of the house, you want nice colors. Because once they walk in, if you have a great looking exterior and you walk in and there's crayon markings everywhere or whatever, spaghetti on the walls.
You say, has Jackson been here?
That's why we used exterior paint on the interior of our house, because it just wipes right off. It's very durable. But your landscaping is important. Make sure you keep the lawn mowed. If you're not mowing the lawn, if you're not keeping it looking decent, I'm not saying keep a perfect yard unless you can do that. Not everybody has the time to do that. But have it look nice and well kept. Have the exterior looking good. Don't forget the garage. A lot of people will let the garage deteriorate, won't paint it and things like that because they don't look at the back of the garage. Make sure everything's taken care of on the exterior of the home. If you have any cracks in your concrete, you might want to just have a little afternoon project and get some filler for there. Because if you don't, all it's going to do is deteriorate. So
weeds grow up in the middle.
Yeah. You want to make sure that you take care of all the exterior stuff that would come up on an initial viewing of the home. Take a look at your roof. Sometimes people won't look at their roofs very often. Who's up there looking?
Yeah.
I make a point to look at mine after every big storm, make sure we're okay. If you're missing any shingles are loose, or you have some flashing that's come loose or something like that, you want to get up there and take care of it. I had a neighbor's tree was rubbing up against the roof of my garage. I had to go up there and repair a shingle. He, of course, trimmed it. I had some extra shingling, so I just went up there and repaired it. You know, you don't want to start getting water leaks in the house, because
Right.
once you get a water leak in the house and you paint it, or you put the kills on it after you repair the leak, you put the kills on it and then you paint it, is that paint going to match the rest of the ceiling?
Yeah.
Then you find you're having to paint an entire ceiling, and it's easier to replace the shingle than it is to take care of the ceiling.
Well, and I think a lot of times we forget that when we've lived with something that we've adjusted to for so long, you don't even see it after a while.
Exactly. Yeah, and the exterior of their house, you know, it can be more susceptible to that, because there's going to be some parts of your house that you just don't stand there and stare at. Take a good look at your house, or have a realtor like myself come over and give you an honest assessment. Be more than happy to do it.
Okay. Well, and people can reach you at 554
2812. Yeah, 55.